Detective Mike Reynolds and Officer Jake Turner leaned against their squad car, chuckling as they wiped sweat from their brows. It was a slow night in Milltown, a small southern city with a police force that had been around for generations. Man, we got to do something to pass the time, Jake muttered, tossing his cigarette onto the pavement. That was when they spotted him, a tall black man in a suit walking down the sidewalk. He looked out of place in this part of town at this hour. The two officers exchanged smirks. "Hey, where you headed, buddy?" Mike called out as they approached. The man turned to them, his deep brown eyes calm but unreadable. "Just passing through," he replied. "Passing through, huh?" Jake mocked. "Well, we like to keep things fun around here." Without warning, they grabbed the man, laughing as they playfully twisted his arms behind his back. They weren't brutal, but their grip was firm. Within moments, they had him loosely tied to a street pole with zip ties. "Come on, loosen up. It's all in good fun," Mike chuckled. The man didn't struggle. He just stood there, looking at them with a quiet intensity that made them shift uncomfortably. "You'll regret this," the man finally said, his voice even. Mike and Jake exchanged glances before cutting the zip ties. All right, don't get all serious," Jake said with a smirk. "Get on your way." The man dusted himself off and walked away, disappearing into the night. The next morning, the entire police department was called into the briefing room. Chief Harris, the retiring police chief, stood at the front. "Boys, we got a big announcement today," Harris said, his voice carrying a note of excitement. "Our new chief is finally here. He comes highly recommended, and we expect big changes." The doors swung open, and in walked the same man from the night before, his suit crisp, his posture commanding. Mike and Jake felt their stomachs drop. "Good morning, officers," the man said with a smile. "I'm Chief Malcolm Graves. It looks like I've already met some of you." His gaze landed on the two officers, and for a split second, a flicker of amusement crossed his face. The room fell silent. Mike and Jake swallowed. "Want me to expand on any part of the story?" Short story with a similar theme of unexpected justice and redemption. The Officer's Lesson. Sergeant Tom Carter had been on the force for over a decade. He and his partner, Officer Rick Daniels, prided themselves on keeping order in their small town. But their idea of order often meant harassing people who didn't look like them, especially when they thought no one was watching. One evening, while on patrol, they spotted a black man sitting on a bench at the local park. He was dressed sharply, expensive shoes, a crisp suit, and a gold watch that glinted under the streetlights. He looked out of place. "What's he doing out here?" Rick muttered. "Let's go find out," Tom said with a smirk. They pulled up and stepped out of the car. "Hey, buddy, park's closed," Tom said, though they both knew it wasn't. The man looked up, calm and collected. "I didn't see any signs." Rick chuckled. "Well, we're the signs." Tom pulled out a pair of zip ties. "How about a little joke? Let's see how you look tied to that light pole over there. Just for fun." The man sighed, but didn't resist. They tied his hands loosely behind his back and leaned against their cruiser, laughing. "See, nothing personal," Tom said. "Just making sure folks know who's in charge around here." The man said nothing, just held their gaze, as if memorizing their faces. After a moment, Tom cut the zip ties and waved him off. "Go on home now, sir. Have a good night." The man adjusted his sleeves, nodded, and walked away. The next morning, at the police station, the chief called everyone into the conference room. "Listen up," the chief said. "We've got an important visitor today. Our department is being evaluated for new leadership. The state has sent someone to oversee changes." The door opened, and in walked the man from the park. Rick's jaw dropped. Tom felt a chill run down his spine. The man walked to the front of the room and faced them all. "Good morning. My name is Marcus Bennett. As of today, I'll be reviewing the conduct of this department." His eyes landed on Tom and Rick. "I've already had an interesting encounter with some of you." Silence filled the room. Tom swallowed hard. He had made the biggest mistake of his career. "Want me?" Sergeant Tom Carter sat frozen in his chair, his stomach churning. Officer Rick Daniels beside him was just as stunned. The man they had tied to the pole last night, just for fun, they told themselves, was now standing in front of the entire department, introduced as the man sent to evaluate them. Chief Harris cleared his throat. "Mr. Bennett has been sent by the state to oversee our department and ensure we meet new standards of professionalism and accountability. Marcus Bennett's gaze swept across the room, but it landed on Tom and Rick for just a second longer than the rest. It was enough to send a chill down their spines. "Let me make one thing clear," Marcus said, his voice even. "I'm not here for revenge. I'm here for change." Tom exhaled slightly, but he knew better than to feel relieved just yet. The evaluation begins. For the next 2 weeks, Marcus reviewed case files, watched body cam footage, and spoke with community members. Officers who had grown comfortable in their unchecked authority suddenly found themselves held accountable. One morning, Tom was called into the chief's office. Marcus was sitting across from the desk, flipping through a report. He didn't look angry, just thoughtful. "Sergeant Carter," Marcus said, "we need to talk about an incident that happened a few nights ago, involving you, Officer Daniels, and, well, me." Tom swallowed hard. He considered lying, but what good would that do? "It was a mistake," he admitted. "I didn't mean any harm." Marcus leaned back, studying him. "A mistake?" He tapped the folder in front of him. "Tell me, Sergeant, how many mistakes like that have happened before?" Tom hesitated. He knew the answer wasn't one Marcus would like. Marcus nodded, as if he already knew. "I'll be making my recommendations to the state at the end of this review. I'm giving you a choice, Carter. You can continue down the road you're on, or you can change." Tom sat there, shoulders tense. No threats, no anger. Just a simple,